Hello, friends, and welcome to another session of technical analysis of natural gas markets. So, we have the charts of natural gas open here on a time frame of an hour. This is the continuous chart of natural gas markets, that is NG1. Some of the brokers have rolled over the price, which will roughly around show 1.8, but for NG1 at the moment, for the continuous contract, it is still 1.65. Eventually this will also get rolled over some point next week, but at the moment we are going to do the analysis of this continuous contract, that is NG1. So let's see what the price action is telling us. So as always, let's take a step back and see what did we see last week, and then we'll try to see potential moves for the week commencing 25th of March. As always, a disclaimer: this is not a buy or a sell recommendation. This is purely for education. We are just trying to study the charts and trying to study the moves on the charts. So if we roughly closed around this price zone back on Friday, and then I think Sunday we saw a bit of a small gap up, and eventually the price moving to 1.77678 zone, getting rejected and back here to 1.65. In the past, if you remember, we've always been speaking of these two zones, 1.78 and 1.68. Maybe a couple of weeks back, 1.78 used to be a strong support here. If you look at these prices here, it used to be a strong support. Eventually now it has become a strong resistance here, and 1.65 or 1.6, roughly around 65 to 68, is still a strong support zone. So if you look at what has happened last week, is the market's just moving in a range of roughly around 130 pips. There is no sort of impulse moves coming, just range bound market. I think the market's waiting for a catalyst on either side to break through, and that break would actually bring some impulse moves to the market. So we have to wait for the markets to break in either direction. It could be above 1.78 or it could be below 1.65. If we break below 1.65, then I think the next support zone would be roughly around this, which is 1.58, and then trying to go back to double bottom are roughly around 1.52. If we break 1.52, I think gonna see another sort of a quick fall, but I'm not 100% sure that we can see that. I doubt actually, but again, these are markets, anything and everything is possible. On the upper side, we need to first break the 1.78, which has become a solid resistance at the moment. Once we clear 1.78, then the next zone is 1.85. Once we clear these two zones, bulls basically gonna get excited, and then we can see the markets moving up in the north direction. So this is what we can see in the coming weeks. So nothing nothing exciting other than the markets being range bound. Just wait for the range to get broken in either direction, so that we can see a nice move coming in either of the direction, or the direction where this range breaks. Another quickly thing we can see here is just making a trend here, so, and then another here. So this is roughly a falling wedge here, formation of falling wedge, not yet complete, but forming. If falling wedge is a bullish pattern, if we break through this sort of range or the downtrend here, then we have potentially gonna go back and test 1.78. If we are able to break through 1.78, then 1.85ish is the next zone. So far, by the looks of it, observation is the market's trying to make a falling wedge, which is supposedly a bullish pattern. So that's on 1 hour. Other than that, we can't see much. Roughly can see this head and shoulder, which we discussed on 4 hours. So arguably the neckline is a bit of we can debate on the neckline, but the shoulders are in the same zone range, that is 1.78, and as we said that 1.65, 1.6 8-ish zone is a strong support zone. Majorly, if you look at this, look at that, it's trying to, roughly, it's been from 14th March to roughly around 22nd March, we are in the same 130 pip zone, so roughly around 8 days. And markets trying to consolidate between these zones. So let's see where we move based on the break. So we just have to be patient and wait for the break to come in, because for me, I think this is purely no trading zone, because you are not gonna see any movement, just range bound. This is basically that phase in the market which will test the patience of the traders. Saying that, let's move on to the 4-hour zone. So 4-hour zone, you can see a bit clearer picture than hourly. This is that shoulder zone which we were speaking, head and shoulder bits. So left shoulder, head, right shoulder, discussed in the last video as well. And then you can see this wedge, a bit of can see a clear picture of the wedge. The equilibrium point of this wedge is roughly around 1.62ish. That doesn't mean the market is going to go back to 1.62. The wedge, these patterns basically they say that if it breaks out, then I think that's the point you should look for to make for any impulse moves. So that's the following wedge here. Again, nothing, same old. One point we were thinking that this could be a double bottom here, didn't form that. Same here, we was thinking this could make another double bottom from here, and then it tried here, but again got rejected from here. So clearly saying the market's range bound here. Let me get this wedge off. What else can we see here other than that wedge? And nothing much here. So this is the range basically. Another quick thing which I would like to draw here is, so let me just assuming that this is the bottom, and this is this is the bottom, and this is the next zone which is supporting the price, assuming the price is going to move from here to the upside. So if I get a trend line here, and then if I just draw something like this, this can be the start of a rising floor for a long duration or on a higher time frame. So clearly it can, we have to see how the price action is forming in next week, but this can potentially form a rising floor, because the price supporting on here. So if we get a channel here, parallel channel, I'm gonna plot it the same way, and then if I try to move this here, so yeah, there you go. So this can be a bullish channel in making. Again, important is to see the price action in the next week, but assuming this zone 1.65 supports, then this can actually be our long-term bullish channel. So, and this can form a rising floor. When this forms the rising floor, we can probably say this can be our a resistance zone. Again, we have to see, this is just very early days, but will eventually, when we see next week or the week after next weekend, we'll come back and we'll try to get back to the charts and see what exactly is forming here. But as of now, this is what we are trying to form based on this particular zone support, holding this support. So that's basically on the 4-hour. Let's go back to an hour, a daily. Daily is again the same stuff. It shows us a clear picture. So you look at this, yeah, that looks like a decent channel here, and let's see if we get this channel here. So will be really interesting to see how the next week actually plays out. One more observation here is the three black rows here. So these 3 red candles. So this is a bullish candlestick pattern. Usually after the 3 black rows, you can have a green bullish candle. Remove it from here. Look at this one, this 3 black rows. Okay, and then the very next candle is a green. So this is not all, this is basically, I mean, we don't want to trade on this three black crows as the only confluence, but you can add it as a confluence. But saying that again, this is not a buy or sell recommendation, just my observations. We're just studying the charts for educational purposes. So one can argue here, you see how many black crows you can see, but still, no upwards movement. And that's the reason I say that don't use the pattern as is. You can use this pattern as a extra confluence. So that's basically about the three black crows. Other than that, I think as I said, we just waiting. Look at this zone. I think last time it was this red candle, and then purely in this zone. Let's wait for the zones to break out, and then probably we see a impulse move coming. Other than that, I think pretty much I covered what I wanted to in this session. If you find this session helpful, please give us a thumbs up. Please share and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.